So, okay. All right, here we go. Hi, friends. We are live. Emmy, can you see me? I hope so. I see your comment in the comment, but I don't know. I can't see how many people are on here. If you are on here. There we go. Yes, Emmy is here. I'm hoping that you can hear me. Hoping that you can see me as well. And I saw your comment in the comment stream. This is my first time using StreamYard to host a live. So hopefully this continues to work. I've never done it before, doing it today, and I feel so proud of myself. I was able to schedule it, I was able to join it, and I see the friends are here. 2 Minutes on Books is here. Hi, Patrice. Thank you so much for joining. Patrice, today we are going to talk about the challenge that you have posted for us to participate in. So one of the things we're going to be talking about today is Military May. Patrice, I am next time. Next time we do this, because next time we do this and you're able to join, I'm going to see if I can get you to join as a participant on screen so you can tell us a little bit more about Military May. But my cozy little library is here. Hi, V. So before I forget, because I intended to talk about it yesterday and I forgot. So here's what's coming up. Here's a little agenda for our time today. So the goal is to be on here for about an hour. Sometimes I spend a little longer. Sometimes we get disconnected and we spend a little less time. But the goal today is to tell you a little bit about the books that I've been reading as much as I can. A couple of books that I intend to start reading very soon. So later today, I'm hoping to share my TBR for the last few days of March. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. I have a package that came in today. So there's going to be an unboxing. It is Tuesday, book release day, publication day for a lot of books. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then on our topic of discussion is going to be the challenge that Patrice is hosting. It's like a month-long readathon where we find books that have a military theme and we're reading them in May. So Military May, hosted by Patrice, who is the creator over at 2 Minutes on Books BT8LG. Am I saying that right? BT8LG. Yeah. So, where should we start? Forgive me. I still have a cold. Trying to get better. I'm hoping that my voice at least can project a little bit more, even though it sounds so raspy. I heard myself. I recorded a message from my friends this morning. And after I left the message and I was listening back to how I introduced it, I was like, who is that person? Oh, that's me. Yeah. My voice just sounds so unfamiliar, but I can't not talk. So thank you so much for being here and for indulging my my need to connect, even when my voice is not the best. So these are the books that I have been reading recently. I didn't bring one of the books. It's over there. So yesterday on the live, I was reading. Let me get it. Ooh, sorry. Pull my book cart a little closer. Sorry for the noise. So I was reading this one yesterday, and we talked a little bit about it last week. This is Jane Austen's Bookshelf, a rare book collector's quest to find the women writers who shaped a legend by Rebecca Romney. I haven't gotten as far into this as I would like. I've just been reading it when I've been talking to you, so a little bit more motivation to talk to you. But I'm so interested in reading this book and in exploring some of the works and the authors that are presented here. I just haven't had time to get back to it recently. So, maybe I'll read this during the sprint. Oh, on the agenda today, reading sprint. We're going to read something together. Maybe not read something together, but read together something that we choose. The other book that I was reading yesterday and telling you a little bit about was The Grimkes, The Legacy of Slavery in an American Family by Carrie K. Greenidge. And if you are familiar with this name, this family name, that's great. Maybe you know a little bit about these women who are mentioned here. I was not familiar with these women and what the author is trying to share is that while you may be familiar with two people from this family, she wants to also link other people in the family that we should know, and a little bit about their complicated relationship and why it may cause us to rethink some of what we may have originally thought or heard or read about the original Grimm kids that we may be familiar with. So I'm not as far into this as I would like to be either, but it's so interesting. The thing that is a little bit, it keeps pulling me out of the story, is that two of the people that we're focusing on have the same name. They have the same name. They are related by blood. They are separated by 2 generations. So context clues tells us which of the women we are focusing on. But the women have the same name and they have the same nicknames. They're both called Angelina Grimke and they both are nicknamed Nana. And so you have to remind yourself, which one am I reading about? And that just kind of pulls me out of the writing sometimes. But I am really enjoying. I love when a book tells me something that I wouldn't have thought about before. One of the women that is mentioned here is a very well-known, not to me, but well-known otherwise activist, someone who famously, I guess, rejected the legacy of enslavement that would have given her like a position in her hometown and in her home state, and decided to move away from that legacy, move away from that culture, and speak out against slavery. The other woman that we are reading about is someone whose family had been enslaved, and she was born a little later, a little after the period of enslavement, a little after emancipation. And so she became she's one of those people from the generation who was able to build their lives and build their legacy on the history of moving away from enslavement. But very interesting story. And when I get a little further in, we'll talk a little bit more about it. But yeah, The Grimm Kids, The Legacy of Slavery in an American Family by Carrie K. Greenidge, who is an African-American author. She is a professor. I'm going to share with you her author picture. And she seems to be a very young woman. So I'm very, very excited to be reading this book. It was one of the books that we wanted to read for Black History Month. Is one of the books that my friends and I considered buddy reading. We didn't end up going with this one, but because I had requested it from the library, it came in and I wanted to read it anyway. So I picked it up, and at some point I will finish it. I'll finish it. But I'm making my way through it slowly because I don't want to miss any of the nuances that the author is sharing. Like I said, I wasn't very familiar with the more well-known of the women. That legacy is not known to me. So I've had to be just like allowing myself to absorb all of that history. It's not like, this is someone who a little bit about their history and about their legacy, and you're just now refining what you already knew. I didn't know anything about either of these women or any of these women that are mentioned. And so now I'm having to learn and unlearn and then learn about someone new, all in the same book. But I am loving it. I'm here for it. So you'll hear me talk a little bit more about this at the end of the month. Hopefully, I like to wrap up as many of the books that I'm reading before the end of the month as I can. When I'm buddy reading something, I might not be able to. But if I'm in control of my reading pace, I will try to finish most of the books that I'm working on. Within reason, I'll try to finish most of them before the end of the month. So let's see some comments. My cozy little library says, yay. Emmy Clip says, I have an ad. Oh, she has an ad. Oh, you know what? StreamYard runs ads. I'm so sorry. But she's back. And my cozy little library says that book sounds interesting. Both the Jane Austen and the Grimm Kids. Yeah, so far, not done with either, but I feel confident recommending them because, even when the book isn't perfect, especially for nonfiction, I feel like you can still learn something from it. Or even if you're not confident in the author in providing that information, sometimes just reading the book gives you an entry into going to do your own research to go figure out whether or not this is a book that you will love, that you can go use it as a springboard to find out more information on that topic. So, perfect example, that book that we did end up buddy reading together, the book about Julia Chin, who had an enslaved Black woman who had a relationship with a white enslaver, and that that relationship, you know, was a little questionable in the way it was presented in the book. But that book that we read from Amrita Chakrabarty Myers just made me want to find out more information about the woman, which is not much information to find out, but also about the time and the culture and things and practices that were being mentioned. Just made me want to go read more. And so, I'm confident in recommending a lot of these nonfiction books, even if not for the book itself, but for the topic and the way it's discussed. So yeah, these are the two nonfiction books that I've been reading mostly, not as much, reading more, but I will try to finish these before the end of the month so that I can tell you more about them in my wrap up. I am also still reading this one for the BookTube Prize, so I can't talk about it, but you will hear me talk about it in my wrap-up video, because I am recording responses to the books in a vlog that I will share right after the BookTube Prize round wraps up, and that video gets shared, showing the rankings and how the books follow up and go on or not in the next round. So this is a current read. This is book number 5 for me in my BookTube Prize reading. So I need to kind of finish this. I'm going to try to finish it today. Because I do want to leave myself room for the next book that I still need to read. And I think that's a long one. So more on that later. So Emmy Clips wants to know if I have something to unbox. I do. It came in this morning. As I was considering whether or not I was going to be able to do the errand that I told you that I was going to try to do today if I didn't come on live. I was trying to figure out if I was going to be able to do that. And then I heard the delivery and the guy said, UPS. I was like, okay, so I guess we're doing a live. So yes, we will share the book. The other book that I wanted to show you is this book that came in recently. It came in maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. That's going to be one of my next reads. I absolutely love this color. The cover. I love it. I love this cover. The title is Life, a Love Story, which sounds like nonfiction, but it's a novel. It's a novel by Elizabeth Berg, and this is the author right there. I love it. And it's about an older woman character, which I just want to read today. 90-year-old Florence Flo Green nears the end of her life. She writes a letter to Ruthie, the woman who grew up next door to her, describing the items that Flo, the 92-year-old, is leaving Ruthie in her will. When I first saw that synopsis, I said, yeah, I want to read that book. And then it says, but as it goes, telling surprising stories about those little things Flo will leave behind. Like, what could possibly be the worth of a rubber band kept in a matchbox tied up in a red ribbon? An unforgettable portrait of the life she has lived emerges. I just want to read this book so bad. I've been wanting to read it ever since it came in. It came in a package with other books, and this is the book that I have wanted to read since then. I've been pacing myself. I've been trying to, focus on my BookTube Prize reading, which is why I haven't really been picking up a lot of other novels. So all the other new things that I've been adding to my reading list have been nonfiction. But as soon as I am done with my BookTube Prize reading, this is going to be my next read. So I just wanted to show you, because if you want to get a little sneak peek into my upcoming TBR, this is going to be on it. So before we do the unboxing, another ad. Okay. Next time I schedule a live on here on StreamYard, I will try to see if I can monitor the ads, at least the frequency. But I think on StreamYard, they do have ads. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry about that. Usually when we do the live just straight on YouTube, that doesn't happen, right? I hope not. Anyway, before the unboxing, I wanted to talk to you about the challenge in May, which is Military May, hosted by Patrice over at 2 Minutes on Books. Let me see. I think I can post these comments, right? Okay, I do have some options. I wasn't doing it. I was supposed to do that. All right, here we go. Show. There we go. I could do it. So this is Patrice 2 minutes on books -BT8LG. This is her channel name. You could go check her out. You could go subscribe to her if you haven't already. Patrice posted a video, I think last week, where she introduced the challenge that she is hosting, or readathon that she's hosting in May, which is Military May. So I'm going to leave her comment on there while I look at her video. And I'll tell you a little bit about Patrice's video. Patrice's challenge it's called Military May, and the focus is on reading books about military history, military in other countries, your interest in military, or books that focus on people who have been in the military or people who have been through a war. And they may be historical fiction, they may be nonfiction reads. So I'm going to look at the posts. I'm going to look at the posts that Patrice shared. So here are the prompts. There are 4 prompts. Not this one. All right, so this is Patrice's video introducing Military May, and there are 4 prompts. And Patrice, are you still on here? I'm going to write them down for next time. Because I remember 3, but I don't know if I remember all 4. So really, the idea is to choose books that focus on military history and read some of those books. And you can double up to match more than 1 prompt if you can, if that's something that you want to do, and just to read those books in May. So not that you have to necessarily meet the prompts in order to participate. I think if you read 1 book that focuses on military history in May, then you're still participating. But Patrice's idea is a month dedicating to reading the military. And so in her prompts, she suggests reading books that are about the military in your country, as well as books that are about the military in other places of the world. So my focus, my intent was to find books that highlight the military in the Caribbean. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I've been thinking about it, but I haven't actually started finding any books. So I'm going to give myself some time to come back with a TBR, as well as not just finding the titles of the books, but actually finding the books themselves. One of the prompts is to read a book about a historical event, like an actual war. So it doesn't have to be World War II. It could be World War I. It could be the Korean War. It could be the Vietnam War, a book about a war. and maybe a novel. So you might be picking up fiction for some of the prompts and nonfiction for some of the prompts. And so I will come back. Here she is, Patrice. She is on here. So there are 4 prompts. Which one did I miss, Patrice? So military outside of your country, a book about the war, and a novel. Okay, a novel about a war. And then something, I'm adding them in my mind. Forgive me. I'm just completely destroying this description. Biography and novel. Okay, and historical. Okay, great. So next time we're on here, I will talk a little bit more about it. Also, I'm going to work on creating my own TBR, and I will share that with you as well. But definitely go check out Patrice's channel. Check out her introduction video and her clarification video, and she will give you all the details. But yeah, I'm going to pin your comments, Patrice. So these are the prompts: biography, novel, can be a biography or a memoir, and a novel, and a book about military outside of your country. And yeah. All right. So those are some of the ideas, some of the things that you could start thinking about to participate in Military May. And because we have a little over a month to prepare, we will come back on and we'll talk a little bit more about it. And maybe I'll even get Patrice to come on here as a co-host for one of the lives so that we can hear directly from her. Okay. And one of the prompts is a book about a war that you want information on. And so I think I'm going to find a book about the Vietnam War that explains a little bit more fully about the Vietnam War, because I feel like as much as I have heard about the Vietnam War, there's a lot to explore, like perspectives that are outside of the American experience of the Vietnam War. Recently, I read a book that, I can't talk about it. Sorry, can't talk about that book. But yeah, there are lots of perspectives on any individual war. And so you might find yourself getting into some interesting territory when you start to explore books about a war that you think you're familiar with, but reading it from a different perspective, which I think was my experience when I read All Quiet on the Western Front by Eric Remarque. Is that his name? So yeah. Patrice says for her, it's the Vietnam War or World War II or World War I. Yes. So just off the top of my head, I'm gonna say a book that I read. When I say recently, I mean within the last couple of years, about World War I, was The Facemaker, nonfiction book that I read because of BookTube Prize. And it was about how it was about the birth of plastic surgery and the expansion of plastic surgical procedures to deal with people who were wounded and received a lot of facial injuries because of World War I. And it was just so eye-opening, so informative, so gripping, but in a one of those like horrific ways. But I would definitely recommend the book because I learned so much from it. So we will come back and talk about that. Just something for you to start thinking about, reading or finding books to participate in Military May in May. Military May. All right, it is time for the unboxing. I want to see what's in here. After the unboxing, we're going to do a little bit of a reading sprint because, as much as you might not believe it, 25 minutes almost have passed. So unboxing, and then we're going to take like a 25 minute reading sprint, just some time to read something that you have. For me, it might be this. I don't know what I will read in my sprint because I don't know what the publisher sent me, but I do know it was a gift from the publisher. Came from Penguin Random House. Came in this morning. Let's see if it's a book that's being published today. It's a paperback. Is it an ARC? I'm going to close my eyes so that you can see it before I do, because, oh, there's something else inside. Okay, there's a little gift in the envelope. I'm not looking. I want you to see the book before I do. Let me see. I think, is this the cover? It feels a little like there's an embossing, but there's also an embossing on here, so I don't know. Oh, it's a graphic novel. It is The Makeup Remover. It is book 1 in a series. This is so pretty. Is this graphic novel or is this manga? Is this what manga is? I'm so not an expert. Okay, this is gorgeous. It is, the cover is like shimmery and it changes depending on what angle you're looking at it from. So the reason that I couldn't tell from feeling it is because the gloss is on the front, but it's also on the back. It's so pretty. The description says she might have the plainest face in the country, and that's exactly why he wants her. Kim Yusel. Kim has always heard that everyone glows up in college. So why does she feel like the least pretty college student ever? Her peers look flawless 24/7, but Yusel has no idea how to apply makeup or style her hair, leaving her without a single shred of confidence in herself. That sounds like me in college. Enter Cheong, the most sought-after makeup artist in Korea. He needs a model for an upcoming TV competition series, and he's certain that Kim's plain face is the perfect canvas to showcase his skills. Yusel isn't interested in fame or glory. She just wants to look pretty for once. But as she plunges face first into the cutthroat world of cosmetics, she begins to question whether appearance really is everything. So this is for teens 14 plus. I hope there isn't anything graphic in here. Because it's one thing when adult books are spicy. It's another thing completely when teenage books have spice, or what people are calling spice these days. But yeah, this is volume 1 in a series, and it says volume 1 collects episode 1 to 14 of the webcomic, The Makeup Removers. It's a webcomic. So is this K-pop, K-drama? Is this when these things are adapted, does this become K-pop? I don't know. So I don't know. But it is graphic. The pictures are beautiful. I will read this so that I can share a review for the publishers. So cute. The artistry is beautiful. It's beautiful. So this was thanks to the publishers. Penguin Random House gifted me this one. Oh, I forgot. There's something inside of the envelope. So let's see what it is. What's this? Is it a pin? Oh, it's all wrapped up. All right. Close my eyes so I can show it to you before I see it. Oh, it's a mirror. It's a mirror. And then the picture of the book cover, like, so literally what's in this looking glass is on the back. And then it has all the shimmer. It's beautiful. So I didn't know. So when I turned the mirror around and I opened my eyes, I saw myself and I was like, what is this? That's funny. It was a mirror. I was looking at myself and I didn't know. My daughter's going to love this. She's going to take it from me. She's going to say, Mommy, I want it. And she's going to take it because she's confident. She's confident that everything that I own belongs to her. That's great, right? So this was thanks to Penguin Random House. I'm so excited. So excited. I love getting books in the mail. Love getting books in the mail. I think that was it. So that was today's unboxing. The package said that I needed to get that before March 31st. So I think maybe next Tuesday is pub day for that book. So I'll figure that out and I'll tell you about it. So yeah. So I'm not going to read that today. I'm not going to read that in the sprint, but I am going to find something to read in the sprint. So I think I'm going to continue with this because I was reading this yesterday. I'm going to continue with this as well as my BookTube Prize reading. So these are the two books that I'm going to be reading during the sprint. So we are going to start a 20-minute reading sprint. We're going to start now. 20 minutes. So I'm going to set a 20-minute timer and then we'll come on back and we will talk about what we've been reading. So if you are joining me for the reading sprint, let me know in the comments what you're reading. Emmy says she's going to watch some shorts because she really doesn't want to read. I understand. I don't always feel like reading either. It's just I come on when I feel like reading and talking about reading. So I understand that it's not the right time for you. But if you are here live or if you're watching this later and you're going to read along with me during the reading sprint, I'd love to hear what you pick up and how you find it. So leave me a comment. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're reading and come back at the end of 20 minutes and tell me how you found it. So we're going to set a 20-minute timer starting. Timer starting now. 20 minutes on the clock. So I'll see you at I'll see you in 20 minutes. I'm a little confused because the timer on my computer, the time on my computer is wrong. The time on my computer is back to non-daylight saving time, which I guess it did because of the StreamYard sync. So interesting. Anyway, I'll see you in 20 minutes. So we're going to coming on back. I was reading this one. You remember how I was telling you about a nonfiction book, how whether or not you like that book, quite often for me, my experience is that the author introduces something that you wouldn't have otherwise known. And so, whether or not you love this book, it makes you want to read other things on the topic and thereby broadening your exposure. So, that's why for me, a book is always a win. Even if I end up not loving that book, it makes me learn something or think about something in a completely different way or just be introduced into a topic. And also, I talk about books with my friends and my husband and my daughter. My daughter and I have been having some really delightful bookish conversations. I'll tell you more about that later. But this book, focusing on Jane Austen's life, the period in which Jane Austen lived, and introducing us to her books and also her influences and also the influence of her books. What I'm liking about this thus far, because I'm still in the early stages of the book where we are reading about Austen herself. Later in the book, we read about the authors who were her contemporaries and also her predecessors and whose works influenced her writing. So later we're going to read about them, but right now I'm still reading about Jane Austen. And yeah, I learned this because I've always heard about the Edwardian and the Victorian period. And I've heard the term Regency romance, but I've never been inspired to think about or read about or find out about why we say Regency period. And this book told me, and I didn't know that I didn't know. It's one of those things that is either you know or you don't, and I didn't know. So I'll tell you just in case you didn't know either. So, one of Jane Austen's admirers in terms of her literary reach was the Prince Regent. So the Prince Regent was King George III's eldest son. And he was the acting monarch when his father was incapacitated? His father had a mental illness, and so the eldest child of the monarch was acting as the monarch in this period in 1811. And he was introduced to Jane Austen's books, her writing, and thus communicated to her or to her family that he was a fan of her writing. And so that's why it made it into this book about Jane Austen. But I learned from reading this that this is where the name for the time period we associate with Austen is the Regency, because it covers that period from 1811 to 1820, after which, when there was a regent reigning, I guess. So that's the period while we had a regent as the reigning monarch. The regent became King George IV. So that period is named after him, the Regency period, 1811 to 1820. I didn't know that. I have heard about Regency romances, and I guess Jane Austen's work, by being published during that time, is also a Regency romance. I never thought about that. I thought Regency romances were those books that were set in a specific time period and had, pictures of women in beautiful dresses. But I've never thought about why we called it the Regent period. And I just found that out. So, in reading about this, I also learned that while Austen was writing, while she was alive, that her works were published anonymously. And it became a kind of open secret because her brother, who was kind of in charge of her financial affairs, and who acted as, maybe, I guess in this time we would call him her publisher. I don't think he would be agent. I think he would be publisher. or maybe no, it's not editor either. I think he would be her publisher, but he would frequently kind of hint to you, listen, my sister is the person who's publishing these books. So it became a kind of open secret if you were familiar with him. And yeah, if you were familiar with him, you knew that it was Jane Austen who was writing these books. But when the books were first published, these first editions of her work did not have her name on them, because it was I guess, the order of the day that especially books that were written by women would not carry their name, because having the name of the author was kind of showy, and you didn't want to be showy if you're a woman, because then people would say that you're vulgar. So yeah, confidence was not such a positive thing at that time, it seems. So I'm learning a lot of things about Austen and about her writing and about the period, and so I'm loving it. But it's also making me want to go reread all of Jane Austen's books. And I will show you my copies because they are down here. It is a part of my bookshelf that you almost never see, because who goes all the way down here? There's on the other side. Sorry. Should I show you? I'll show you just because you're here. It's these Barnes and Noble. All of these are classics. All of these right here. So let's give you a little sneak peek at my bookshelf. So here are they: Mansfield Park, Persuasion, and Northanger Abbey. And what's that down there? I can't see it. Sense and Sensibility, Northanger Abbey, and Pride and Prejudice, and Persuasion, and Mansfield Park. So I have 5 of the 6 major novels. I do not have a copy of Emma. And I think one time I went to the bookstore, I went to Barnes and Noble, and I was going to get it, but I couldn't remember which of the books I didn't own. Like I said, they're down there. I don't often show them to you, but I also often don't look down there myself. So sometimes I forget which ones I have. But the thing about, let me show you. So the thing about these books is that, kind of dusty. We haven't done the book spring cleaning yet, but I'm going to tell you about that later. So these are what the books look like. These are the Barnes and Noble copies, Barnes and Noble paperback copies. And I bought most of these on sale when they would have like buy 2, get the third one free. Yeah. And so this one was like $6, $5.95. And so I own 5 of these books, 5 of those books in these copies. And they were very good to read, but I don't think they're great to collect, because like you could see the pages are getting a little yellowed, and I've only had them for maybe about 10 years or so. So a lot of dust on these books. Bookish spring cleaning is coming soon, maybe next week. So Patrice is back. She says she was reading the biography of Ralph Ellison. Awesome, Patrice. Thank you so much for sharing. So let me show you. I'm just showing you my copies of the Jane Austen's novels that I have. Barnes and Noble Classics. Because these books have not been handled in a long time. I dusted the shelf a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't take these books out individually, and because they're at the bottom, they get probably most of the dust from all the sweeping. So these are the 5 of her novels that I own. I don't have Emma. And one of her novellas what is it called? The Watsons? Is that the Sanditon? Sanditon is her novel, her novella, which I don't have either. So I was thinking about getting the sixth novel in this series to complete this set, but I'm not even sure if Barnes and Noble is selling this set anymore, because last time I went to Barnes and Noble to check out classics to add to my classics shelf, I saw the newer series that they're doing. I'm trying to remember where my books. We're trying to remember where my books are. We'll talk about that another time. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to buy the sixth one in this series. If I see it, I might, just to complete the series and then kind of put it aside. Excuse me. Is that wrong to buy a book to complete a series, even though you know you want to start a different collection of the same series? I don't know. I'm going to think about that. But these were relatively inexpensive. Persuasion was $5.95. Mansfield Park was $5.95, and that's a bigger book. Pride and Prejudice was $6.95 because this is probably her most popular work. These two, Sense and Sensibility and Northanger Abbey, are both $5.95. So yeah, if I see this, if I see Emma, I'm saying it multiple times, so I'll be reminded of it as well. If I see Emma in the series, I will buy it just so that I can have it, because these are great to read. But I would like to get nicer copies as a collection, as a display. I'm still a book collector. So I'm going to leave them out. I'm not going to put them back down there because I need to start cleaning the shelves. So Future Lives, I'll try to come back on here on Thursday. And when we come back on Thursday, it's going to be around the same time, around 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Daylight Saving Time. For somehow on StreamYard, it's telling me it's 12:30 that we started. So 12:30 Eastern Standard Time regularly, but 1:30 if it's New York time. Next time we come on, we're going to start working on the shelves. I need to start changing up my shelves because I need to start organizing my books. One of the things I want to do later this year, I've seen a lot of people doing like they count their books and figure out how many books they own, how many books they have unread. I'm not sure that I want to do that, because while you can see these books, this is like this is less than a half of my books. There are books there. There are books there. Some of those all the way over there are my husband's books, but I have appropriated them. I consider them to be mine as well. So there are books on the side. There are books in front of me. There are books on this table, and then we have a few more shelves of books and stacks of books elsewhere. I am not ready yet to count all my unread books because I feel like that's undue pressure. And I don't think that's a number that I necessarily want to know. But I do want to organize my books a little bit better so that when it's time to look for my books, I know exactly where to find them. Right now, I know generally where to find them. Generally. But because I have been trying to kind of manipulate the collections and put some of my unread books that I want to read most urgently, I've been trying to put those in a special place. I've moved some of the other books and sometimes I forget where I've put them. So we are going to come back later this week and we're going to do some spring cleaning and organization, and I'm going to do it live because I don't think I can film that as a video, or at least we'll start it live and see how it goes. So we will come back on Thursday, not tomorrow, because tomorrow is a short day for my daughter and we have an appointment in the afternoon, so I won't come on tomorrow. But Thursday we'll be on here, hopefully Thursday or Friday. And I'll post it on the community tab so you'll know to join me. But I look forward to talking with you. I look forward to reading more books with you. I hope that we'll have another book to unbox, another package to unbox. And if I get an opportunity to go to the bookstore tomorrow, I might even have a little haul to share with you. That would be awesome. So I look forward to seeing you when we come back on Thursday or Friday. And whenever it is, if it's on Thursday, then you'll definitely know on the community tab that I'll share. And if not, if you don't see me on Thursday, then it's because it's going to come on Friday. But thank you so much for being here today. This was fun, and I look forward to talking with you in a couple of days in the same format. And until then, let me know what you're reading. Let me know how you're finding it, and I hope you find even more things to read and enjoy. So until we see each other again, happy reading. Bye.